So Richard Tice, Reform UK's deputy leader, recently came under scrutiny over a completely legal tax structure that meant his company paid no corporation tax for a period. And when he was asked about it, his basic response was, well, obviously, everyone should try to pay as little tax as legally possible. Which, I mean, yes. Like, I'm sorry, who exactly is waking up in the morning like, actually, HMRC, you know what? You've been extra good to me this year, so just take it a little bit extra. I mean, be serious. Of course, people try to minimize their tax. Of course, they do. I'm not naive to think they don't. But that's also a slightly peculiar way of saying it, because for most normal people, tax isn't some sort of creative little strategy game. It comes out of your pay and it just ruins your mood.
This is fine.
You don't have a team of accountants finding little trapdoors to help you. So when someone rich says, well, everyone should minimize tax, not everyone has the same tools. And I'm not an economist, and I'm not going to be starting doing equations on camera. This is not that kind of a channel, but I do understand the very basic idea that people quite like to keep their own money. Revolutionary, I know.
Groundbreaking.
However, there is a difference, and it's a very important little difference between what is technically correct and what you should maybe not say out loud if you're trying to run the country. Because on a purely human level, he's not wrong. But on a political level, why would you say that out loud? Because saying it makes it sound less like principled honesty and more like you found cheat codes. And that is not a great sound for a party that's trying to present itself as cleaner, more patriotic, more serious, more straightforward than the rest. Because politics isn't just about what's legal. It's not even about what's true. It's about what people think your behaviour means. It's the vibe about who you are. And the vibe here is not serious future deputy PM of the nation. It's more man with access to better options, explaining life to people without them.
How do you do, fellow kids?
And no matter how legal it is, the image of this is terrible for Reform's branding. I mean, their PR team must be hating him right now.
I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
If you're building a party that's supposed to not be like the others, not part of the machinery, not one of those slippery little establishment clubs, maybe don't immediately step into something that feels like the exact kind of behavior that people are voting against. Even if it's legal, even if it's standard, even if technically you've done nothing wrong. People are not sitting at home with legal textbooks going, yes. Well, technically under subsection 4, no. They're asking for something much simpler. Do you feel like one of us, or do you feel like someone who's found a clever way to get around us? Because imagine how easily Tice could have flipped this. He could have just said, you know what, this is the tax that I've paid this year. This is what we're getting for it. This is how rubbish it is. This is what we'll be doing under our next government. That would have been a completely different conversation. I mean, that would have been seen as leadership. That's I'm with you energy. Instead, we get, well, obviously, everyone should minimize what they pay. Okay. But why are you saying it like you've discovered electricity? And it's just so smug. Not just because of what he said, but because of who gets to live like that. Normal people don't get a tax strategy, they just get taxed. And with Reform, that kind of matters even more, because this isn't just any party at this point now, is it? They've changed parts of the conversation. They have made people be comfortable about being frank about certain topics. And whatever anyone thinks of Nigel Farage, he has been impossible to ignore for years now. But at the same time, I don't know about you, but it feels like there's this slightly chaotic, kind of bandity energy around them at the moment. Like students who have found their parents' alcohol cabinet and are trying to smuggle back as much as possible before anyone notices.
Ha, you fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
Because between the cameo videos, which I'm sorry, I still cannot get over some of them, they are so cringe.
Hi Claire, it is Lee Anderson, the Reform UK Member of Parliament, and I've got a very, very special Valentine's message from a chap called Gary.
A Sigma spider climbed up the skibbity spout. And that spider is you, Top Sigma James. Yes, it is. This is Nigel Farage wishing you a big chungus. Congratulations for being the top G skibbity alpha male. We all promise to hawk tour on your bussy.
And then these tax comments, and then flying off to Davos on £50,000 trips to put the global elites on notice. It's starting to feel a little bit like we're not like them, we're thinking of you always, but also we're kind of enjoying the perks. And this is sort of where the ick kind of creeps in for me, because once you start branding yourself as the anti-establishment grown-ups, the margin for silly little contradictions gets very small. If you're asking people to believe that you're different, you have to be immaculate in how you show up. Not perfect. Nobody is asking for political sainthood. Of course we're not. And I think that's what makes this story land so awkwardly, is that tax is kind of one of the most ordinary forms of patriotism that people actually practice. I mean, it's not exactly Rule Britannia with a wind machine. It's paying into the system and thinking, right, I'm doing my bit. Even if we feel overtaxed, even if the roads still have potholes, even if nothing works, there is still this feeling of, this is my bit. So when a party wraps itself in the language of patriotism, more than most certainly, and then its deputy leader appears, even if completely legally, to be minimizing what he should pay back, it suddenly doesn't feel like we're kind of playing the same game anymore. It feels like one spirit of the rules for the public and another instinct at the top. And it's just a move from this sort of patriotic, I'm with you energy to savvy operator. And those two are not even the same category, because politicians are supposed to be public servants. That is the actual job. They are not influencers or entrepreneurs. They are not meant to be treating public office like a LinkedIn side quest. They are supposed to serve the public. And when you start seeing cameos and side hustly media behavior and these odd kind of branding moments, and now this, it just starts to feel less like service and more like people working on their own advantage while the iron is still hot. And more, I'm asking myself, who is this behavior for? Because Reform are very good at telling us what's wrong with the system, pointing it out, showing us. But sometimes they behave like they don't quite believe they'll ever actually have to run it, which is not wildly reassuring. And if you're asking people to trust you with the country, that kind of matters. Because even if Richard Tice has done absolutely nothing wrong, it's totally lawful, this is very bad judgment and very bad political instinct from him and from Reform.
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you!
Because this is the kind of PR blunder that will follow you forever. And at a moment when the party should be building trust and discipline and seriousness, this is kind of a red flag. So I just come away from this thinking, he really didn't think this one through now, did he? And that is not the energy you want from someone saying, trust me with the country that you love. But look, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe you're just thinking to yourself, Emma, what the hell are you talking about? But please let me know what you think below as always. And do think about giving me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you again real soon.